Well, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to attend our webinar. Today, we'll be talking about equipment maintenance and unlocking the power of your telematics data. This will help you enhance and take a holistic approach to your equipment maintenance. Just to give you some introductions on the panel here, we have myself, John Kane. I'm the product manager for B2W's Maintain element, which is for equipment maintenance. We also have one of our solutions engineers, Mark Hooks. And we also have Larry Baker, the CEO of Earthwave Technologies, one of our partners. Okay, so let's talk about the agenda and what we'll be going over today. Today we'll be going over the holistic approach to equipment maintenance. We'll look at some of the results you can achieve through some of our customers that we have and some of the experiences they've had using telematics. We'll look at how B2W's Maintain element actually helps you achieve some of these goals and efficiencies using telematics. And then we'll turn it over to Larry Baker from Earthwave Technologies to walk you through what his product provides to help create those efficiencies as well. So as most you know, getting the telematics information into your CMMS program is vital to remaining efficient and to increase your efficiency, not only for your equipment, but also for your mechanics as well in the field. So this is where scheduling, KPIs, equipment uptime, equipment downtime, and of course, equipment location come into play here. All of that ties into where your mechanics are going, when they're going, where your equipment is, when it needs to be moved, when it doesn't need to be moved, and all of your dispatch functionalities as well. So it's important to get that integration piece into your CMMS program so that you can look at all that data and use it for important decisions that you'll be making. So some of the challenges that our equipment managers in the field actually face without telematics is obviously manual meter reading and location entry. Now, when your equipment's out in the field, the last thing you heard about where it is where you hope it is when you're dispatching a mechanic. So getting real-time information is really important there. The timeliness of that reporting. Things could be out of date. Meter readings might not be coming in as quickly as you need them to be to actually get your preventive maintenance and all your other maintenance requirements done on time. Manual reporting inaccuracies, fat fingering of meter readings, things like that. Again, typically you'll have a person on the payroll who actually has to enter these into the system, which is an increased expense. Your compliance for your preventive maintenance, being out of compliance with that, as most of you know, is a challenge when you're not getting automated information into the system. You want to make sure you're staying on time with your PMs and measuring against that. Planning of maintenance resources. Again, sending your mechanic out to fix a piece of equipment, you've got to know that the piece of equipment is there, that there may be other pieces of equipment around it that your mechanic can actually fix as well, and what other needs are there while he's out there, maximizing his time and creating that efficiency as well. So the telematics impact on a basic maintenance workflow is fairly simple. It really starts with your planning of your work. So a need for maintenance is created. That could be via an automated system in your CMMS program where telematics readings come in and the system can react to those and notify you that some PMs are due. That creates the efficiency you need and the compliance insight that you'll need to be able to complete that work. You go through the process of creating your work orders. Now it's time to schedule. You know that the equipment location is important if you're dispatching mechanics. You want to make sure that when they head out to a piece of equipment that the equipment is there, like I said earlier, and that if there is other work out there that needs to be done on other pieces of equipment, you can maximize that as well. And then, of course, at the end of the process, you have the capability to measure against all that. And telematics gives you a lot of that data to be able to measure against your KPIs and so forth. So again, talking about preventive maintenance and your compliance, when you integrate a telematics solution into your CMMS, you're able to get real-time meter readings and real-time locations. So the meter readings, again, will help the system automatically trigger your preventive maintenance. Your preventive maintenance can be set up in such a way where you're actually given lead time to when it's due. That way you can get the equipment into the shop or dispatch the mechanic in a timely manner so that, again, you stay in compliance with the scheduling of that preventive maintenance. That also enhances your warranty information too. If you're not up on your preventive maintenance, you could, in some ways, fault your warranty or default on it. So you want to make sure that you're ahead of that, you've got insight into it, and you're able to plan accordingly. So leveraging the telematics data is just that, making sure that the data is coming into the system, you're getting it in a timely manner, and you're able to plan and schedule accordingly. So some of the results from our customers, we've got a couple of customers here that we've actually spoken to about how they use telematics and what they're seeing as their major benefits. One of our customers is Jeff Buckley, equipment manager with CA Hull. They have created such efficiencies that their total maintenance cost is only 5% of their total revenue. That's huge, and that's really within the KPI realm where you should be. Their PM schedules work, it cuts emergency work. We all know that the goal of your preventive maintenance and your emergency work, you should be doing only about 10%, less than 10% of your work being emergency work. The rest of it should be preventive. Your staffing situation, you may not need full-time job site mechanics. In this case, CA Hull has been able to eliminate one because of the way they're able to dispatch mechanics efficiently. Provided them the insight and the data to remain profitable, maximizing equipment utilization, mechanic utilization, minimizing idle time, and actually calculating the true hourly owning and operating costs of their equipment in conjunction with their accounting software. We also have Brett Todd, who's the resource operator center manager at Barrier Construction. They actually track 28 KPIs monthly in 6 categories: safety, operations, financial, maintenance, vendors, and training. They've reached the goal of 4% of their work orders are emergency work orders in 2016. That is outstanding. And again, that's simply because they've got many partners in telematics integrations coming into the software and providing them the data they need to make those kind of decisions. They maximize their owned equipment over rental equipment. They want to cut down the cost of rental equipment and utilize their own equipment, and have an insight into the location and usage of that equipment is huge. They can obviously plan ahead on major repairs and downtime. That speaks to their dispatch teams so that when they're scheduling equipment on jobs, they know ahead of time when the equipment's going to be in the shop, when it's not going to be. And they lower transportation costs with real-time location information coming in from telematics. Again, when you're sending a mechanic out to a piece of equipment, it's going to be there, and he's not searching around for it. So 2 success stories utilizing telematics to help bring the data together. So now we'll move on to a demonstration of B2W Maintain, where we can show you how this simple telematics data coming into the system can provide so much information for a shop manager or a scheduler planner, or even a dispatcher when it comes to dealing with their equipment and their mechanics. And I'll turn this over to Mark Hooks, who is our solutions engineer, and he's going to give you a demo.
So thanks, John. The product demonstration today is going to be focusing on the B2W Maintain element and how all the information that John discussed can be incorporated to really streamline the equipment maintenance process, all to save you time and money. We'll focus on the telematics integration with a high-level discussion of the B2W Maintain element as well. So you'll see here on the home page of the B2W operations platform, there's really 4 operational elements. There's track, there's dispatch, which is going to become our new scheduling program. There's B2W Maintain, which we'll go into some detail about today. We also have our B2W Inform product. So from an operations platform, this is really unique to us that all these elements really sit on one SQL database and one central platform, so that all those elements that you're looking at for operations are sharing information in real time. So just a few examples with the track system, which is used to track your daily progress, hours, quantities, things like that in the field, and give a comparative analysis to how you actually bid the work over any time period. The guys in the field could actually see the incoming telematics information on their daily field log. But not only that, they could actually enter in daily meter readings on equipment that doesn't have the ability to have GPS on it or doesn't have the GPS device, and that's actually shared across the product to say back to maintain, so it would be seen in the equipment profile to help fire off, as John said, the preventative maintenance request automatically. And all that information, any of the maps, integration there too, is going to show the real-time location of that equipment. Really nothing manual that you have to do in the system to actually make all that happen. The telematics integration and import that we have actually produces that in the background for all the different elements that you're seeing. So let's start with the actual import of the telematics information. Our telematics import is a bit different. It's really agnostic in regards to the actual carrier of the information. And by that, I mean, as long as your current GPS telematics carrier uses the standard AEMP language, and we can get to it, we can electronically pull telematics information from any of those carriers, like Earthwave, who you'll be hearing from in just a few minutes. The current AEMP telematics information that we can import includes things like your serial number, asset ID, hours, location, GPS distance traveled, machine odometer, fuel consumption. Now, the way that we bring that information into the program that you're seeing here is through a configurable add-in in the settings area of the platform. So I'm going to go into the settings area, go to the add-ins area. On the page here, you can see we actually have multiple telematics imports. And the reason we've done that, if you have multiple carriers that you're using in a single organization, we now can grab any of that information from any of those carriers agnostically. Inside the telematics import setup, this is really where you'll use both the add-in to set up where we get the information from, in conjunction with the the Windows Task Manager to tell the system how often you want to go out and ping that service to get that information and bring it in. So now we get the information in. Let's go take a look within B2W Maintain and look at some of the areas that benefit from that incoming information. So I'm going to go back to the home page here, and I'm going to go right up to B2W Maintain. B2W Maintain is a full service CMMS. I mean, there's really a lot there. It's not just for break fix repairs. The B2W Maintain is also for preventative maintenance programs, which we'll look at in a little more detail. It's for work order management, both creating the work orders, scheduling that work for your mechanics or outside shops. It's for warranty management, both at the equipment and parts level. We have time card management. We can take your time from your mechanics that they're recording daily as they do their work and get that over to your accounting system. We also have parts, inventory, and even purchase orders. All that built into the system to give you really one good solid solution for equipment maintenance. And you can see those areas at the top of the program. There's the dashboard here, which gives you some of that key performance information that John mentioned. It's a good one-page snapshot for the equipment manager to see, what's there, what's coming up. Here you're seeing work orders priority, that about 14% of my work orders in my system are high priority. So I've got some work to do to see if I can get that down to a better industry standard. How many hours am I working my mechanics, time card management, and then some pieces here where I can get to those incoming repair requests, whether they be break fix or preventative maintenance, so I can get those into a work order and schedule for my mechanics. But again, a lot of information across the top, taking requests, creating work orders, putting them on that multi-day schedule I mentioned, time card management, preventative maintenance programs, equipment, parts, inventory, and purchasing. Now, the first area that we're going to go into is the equipment area. The equipment area is really one central area that stores all of your equipment information. So rather than have the multiple filing cabinets that you've got to go to get to the information on your equipment, everything is here, from specs, financials, file attachments, all the way down to a full history of anything that's ever happened or about to happen on that piece of equipment. The first area that we're going to look into is actually the meters area. In relation to that incoming telematics integration, this is where you would see the meter readings And over and above the telematics integration, we also have the ability, again, to get those meter readings in the system from multiple different areas. As I mentioned earlier, the meter readings can come in from the daily field log. They can come in from the repair request, which has an area to enter in readings, work orders, our CSV telematics import. All that is over and above the automated telematics import that we can pull in. So you have really a lot of ways, even if you have equipment that has no GPS device, that we can incorporate all that information to really streamline multiple processes across the system. Now, if we come down to the locations area, you'll also see a real-time map. And this holds the 3 last pings or imports that we've gotten on that telematics information. So I can tell you where your equipment was, but also where it is. So this real-time integration, again, gives you that visibility on where your equipment is as it moves around in different locations. Now, in addition to that, we also, even at the work order level, can incorporate that telematics information. Here in the work orders, there's really 2 links on a work order that lets you see that information. So if I can show you here, it says find nearby maintenance around this equipment. So utilizing the telematics information, if I click the link, what you're going to see, it throws up the map that we have in B2W Maintain, and it looks at a 1-mile radius around the piece of equipment that I just was pointing at. So it's showing me everything there, but I can go all the way out to a 10-mile radius to show me everything around the equipment. Again, streamlining and really maximizing your mechanic's time. So if I'm going to send them out to work on that piece of equipment, he can see that there's other things that he can do within that general area. That's one way of looking at it. That's a looking around the piece of equipment. We also, after that work order is scheduled, it's going to be scheduled for a specific location. So this in particular one is going to be scheduled to be done in the shop. So I can actually use that same functionality to look at a map around the shop to see what's there. So I've geofenced an area around the shop. So any equipment that's there using telematics is going to show me where it is, and I can see the corresponding work orders. Even on our multi-day schedule, we have that functionality. So if I go into the multi-day schedule, where you can see that I can schedule work for both my internal resources and my external resources, if I want to look around, say, where this is supposed to be done, again, I come here, click on Find Nearby Maintenance, and what that's going to do is going to launch that same map and, again, show me everything around that geofence location all the way out to a 10-mile radius. So really what we're trying to do, if you're sending your mechanic out to do work, if there's other things that they can do within that general area, you're really maximizing the mechanic's time in the field or around the shop, as I'm showing you here. The use of the map here with the locations of the equipment really streamlines that process. So now let's take a look at the preventative maintenance programs that uses the telematics information. In the programs area here, you'll see we can have as many different preventative maintenance programs as you want. There can be as many different levels of service within a specific preventative maintenance program. And if we come down to the intervals area, this is where you'll set up the intervals to automatically create those preventative repair requests, as John mentioned. And again, it's based on the incoming telematics reading and or the readings entered across the platform. Here, the user-defined intervals can also be meter and or calendar-based, and you can even have a mix of interval types in a single interval. So if this thing doesn't hit 100 hours and it hits that quarterly mark, it's still going to fire off an automated request that can be changed to a work order or added to a work order and then put on the schedule for your mechanics. And as John mentioned, we can also do lead times here as well. Maybe you don't want to see the request at 100 hours. You want to see this request at 90 hours. So you got time to take down and replace that piece of equipment, or just to be able to see what's coming into the shop over any given time period. So all this automation that we're talking about is really designed to keep your equipment healthy, maximize the mechanic's time, decrease the downtime on the equipment, and ultimately save you time and money on equipment repairs, to get those KPIs, to get them within that industry standard, which we know is what you all want for an efficient, healthy equipment fleet. Now, I'm going to push this over to Larry Baker. Larry is the CEO of Earthwave Technology, and he'll present how the product fits into the overall picture. So Larry, I'm going to push this over to you and make you the presenter, and that way you can do your presentation.
Since 2000, we've been at Earthwave Technologies, have been developing a telematics solution that's called Fleet Watcher. Our focus is and has been for the past 17 years exclusively on heavy equipment contractors. So we've made it our business to understand your business and to develop this solution around helping you solve problems and be more efficient and more productive and more profitable. In 2014, we were selected by B2W as their primary telematics integration partner. We had and have a lot of mutual customers, including CA Hall and including Barrier and a host of others. So it's been a great relationship between the two companies. I might be going over some details here you already understand, but I'm going to define telematics as we understand and position it. So as it says on the screen, telematics is measuring and monitoring real-time information from remote and mobile assets and wirely transmitting that information to a central location for analysis. In essence, it's a technology that's been designed to replace manual processes of tracking, monitoring, and reporting what your assets are doing. So that starts with the collection of data at the asset level, be it a piece of off-road equipment or a truck, and transmitting that, and in the case of integration with B2W, replacing or circumventing the manual process of collecting and data input. So it results in both accurate and timely data, and although the benefits of accurate and timely data are self-evident, it's been a challenge for the construction industry over the decades to manage their business, manage their assets, manage their maintenance without this. So I want to get into some of the basics of Fleet Watcher as it relates to the integration with Maintain and the integration with B2W. So as John and Mark have both said, it's about location and it's about meter readings. So that's certainly where it starts. And at Earthwave, we with Fleet Watcher have really perfected the process of effectively tracking equipment from job to job and tracking equipment on a real-time basis. So what you're seeing here is a mutual customer of B2W and Earthwave in Tampa, Florida. So what you're seeing here are geozones with concentrations of equipment. And this is kind of a zoom in. I apologize for the fuzziness of this, but this is a zoom in. So what you're seeing here are multiple jobs with equipment on each of those jobs. So to us, location is more than just latitude and longitude. It's what jobs are those pieces of equipment on and what information is and should be reported against that job. One of the things that we do that's a patented process is we track very effectively and very accurately the movement of equipment from job to job, and we call that a transport process. So if a piece of equipment gets loaded on a lowboy or a trailer and that trailer takes off, our box is programmed to say, hey, I'm moving and my engine isn't running, so go into a transport mode. And then it updates every minute and basically tracks that piece of equipment en route to wherever it's going. When it gets to the next job, it ends transport. Fleet Watcher receives a packet that says, okay, well, since you've ended transport, where are you? Recognizes now he's at the Union Park job and automatically moves it. So here's an example of that, a breadcrumb trail of that transport process. So you see up here, the piece of equipment left Independence Park, began transport. If I were to scroll over this on a live screen, these would show a 1 minute update. And so you know when that truck and that piece of equipment is en route. When it got to this job, which is the Monin Phase 2 job at May 3rd at 10:38 a.m., it automatically moved it to that job. So all information within Fleet Watcher would be reporting against that job. This information is all importable into the B2W suite and into Maintain. And this shows a history, a move history of every piece of equipment, what job it moved from and what job it moved to. So while we're tracking equipment, our solution is very project-centric as well as equipment-centric. So now addressing the hour meters, this is a pretty simple process. When we install a FleetWatcher device on a piece of equipment, on that date we install it, we get an hour meter reading. So, and I'll make this up, but on this Volvo, we may have installed it when it had 800 hours on it. So we say we install this on April 1st, it has 802 hours on it. When we configure that in FleetWatcher, that information goes in. Then every time that FleetWatcher updates, it's updating the hour meter reading. With CA Hall, for example, I believe every hour there's an import into CA Hall from FleetWatcher that shows at that moment in time what the last reading was. So we would basically export into B2W. Here's the hour meter reading on that piece of equipment. If it's a truck that tracks hours and miles, we would import both of those. And here's the latitude and longitude of that piece of equipment, and here's the job it's on. So the frequency can be more or less, but the information is always the last reported packet at that interval period that that device has transmitted to FleetWatcher. We also, as John mentioned, one of the challenges in maintaining equipment is where is that equipment? When you schedule a work order yesterday for today, a piece of equipment may have been on job A yesterday, but it got moved to job B today. And so we have heard from many of our customers that they go to a job to find out that that piece was moved earlier this morning, was moved yesterday. With the schedule product from B2W, it would minimize those sorts of scenarios, but they certainly happen fairly often at a significant cost. So we have a series of mobile applications, and one is called a locator app. And so the locator app will allow you to select a piece of equipment. You can, if you know you're supposed to be going to a particular job, select that job and find that piece of equipment on that job. If it's moved, it'll no longer be on that job. But you find that piece of equipment, you click on it, and it'll bring it up on a map. It'll show exactly where it is. In this case, this milling machine was at the Brunswick County map job. It's running at that point in time, so you even know that. And you can click on driving directions, and it'll actually take you right to where that piece of equipment is. On a large job, it could be, a highway job, which could be, miles long. Yeah, you may know it's on the Brunswick County job, but where on that job is it? So you get there, you get closer, you just open the app again, you click on it, here's where it is, and it takes you right to it. So to kind of summarize, it's real-time, accurate, and timely data from location to the minute in our case, and hour meter readings to enhance your ability to effectively utilize the great resource of B2W Maintain. So, sorry guys, got a mouse that's got a life of its own. So I'm going to pass this back to Mark. So thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thanks, Larry, very much. We appreciate it. That was awesome.
All right.
Well, guys, I want to thank everybody for attending the webinar today. If you have any questions or any questions about the products you've seen today, you can always contact our sales department. Be glad to get on the phone, do a demonstration, or just simply answer questions. If you're a customer already, then you can always call our support department. Be glad to do that. And for those people who could not attend the session today, we will be recording this and emailing a link to the recorded session. Want to thank everybody and keep a lookout for all future B2W webinars. Thank you.